All right, welcome to episode 8 of the Financial Time Travelers podcast. This is the future of America.
Is that what we're talking about?
I kind of said that in jumbling order, but it's going to work.
But we got some good stuff here today.
Say it with your chest.
Well, you're looking pretty happy here.
I am pretty happy. I had a great week.
You had a great week.
I'm really excited.
An unusual week.
Once, 3 times in a lifetime for me.
Once in a third, yeah.
We had a baby on Sunday.
Congratulations.
Little Cal Bronson Bear.
And this was
Nicole and I. I watched.
Yeah.
I was a great participant. She could have done it on her own. This is the 3rd baby together. She did an amazing job.
Created it, grew it.
7 pounds, 14 ounces.
Wow.
21 and a half inches.
On Sunday. Right.
Sunday at 11:24.
Congratulations.
It's very fast. Was awesome. And I know this might sound bad. I was so anxious to get back in the studio because I just love what we do. And I think we're providing tremendous value.
So you brought Cal.
No, he's at home. But we did set up with a babysitter. Grandma came over.
Okay.
Watching Ellie and Caleb. Caleb's easy, 7. He's self-sufficient. But it was a big week, and so I'm excited to be back.
Through his business, so.
Oh yeah. He's still. We're gonna have to do a side segment series of following Caleb. He wanted to come in with me because he was like, "Dad, can I steal the GoPro and do my own YouTube video?"
Yeah, he went his own podcast.
Yeah. And he said, "I'll be on your podcast, but only if I have my own microphone." Yeah. So we'll get him in here. We need to get another mic for him, but
only if he could leverage our viewers, right?
Anyways, I'm a little geeked out on it. I thought I'd wear my A's hat because this week it was announced.
Yes, I did notice that.
They have a new stadium.
It wasn't because of their winning season.
Not a terrible season. Yeah. They gave up. Or we had some good trades, and by we, it's another we that I throw myself into, or I do not participate.
Ownership by association.
I do participate by purchasing things of this nature,
and supporting.
But it looks like they're going to get a site on the waterfront. So the Giants are going to have a waterfront with we still call it Pac Bell Park. Right. What is it? AT&T Park.
Yes.
Yeah. Because Pacific Bell is no mas.
Yeah.
And then it looks like the A's are going to get water. And the Raiders might move out to Vegas. The Raiders, whom I love. I'm an East Bay fan, but I grew up loving the Giants as well. You were just in San Francisco recently, witnessed something that made your heart stop.
Yeah, but we were going to talk about your hat. You have a tie on here?
Oh, yeah. We'll get into it.
All right, later?
We're
going to keep me in suspense here?
Let's talk about what you saw.
Okay. I need to get one of those pencil-thin ties there.
Well, we can do this.
That's not a clip-on, though, is it?
No, it's not. Can't. You can choke me with it.
I might start wearing a bow tie.
It's not a real tie unless you can hang yourself with it.
Yeah.
Because things get tough.
Yeah. You know, I had lunch this week in Texas, and the commissioner of San Antonio.
I'm glad you ate when you were there.
He wears a bow tie. That's kind
Does
of his,
he?
That's kind
I
of
don't
his deal.
trust people with bow ties.
Yeah.
I feel like if you wear a bow tie, you have to be able to juggle.
Yeah, and it's a real bow tie.
Play a kazoo.
You know, there's a way you have to fold it. I've never learned how to tie a bow tie.
But he's in Texas. That's old. Yeah. That's old school.
He's the only person I've ever seen wear a bow tie. Ever. And
you know who I saw was our corporate banking guy. You know who I'm talking about? I walked in the bank and he was wearing a bow tie, and I was like, "Oh boy, I can't trust him." Bill Nye wears a bow tie, but Bill Nye gets a pass. He gets the hood pass,
right?
Because he's the man.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah.
So you were in Texas.
So he's wearing a bow tie, so it's pretty cool.
Okay. That's classy.
Yeah.
That's classy.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what you saw in San Francisco.
And that's going to lead into our topic today, which is the future of America. And we got to try and figure out how to get out of this muck and mire of a stagnant economy that's going nowhere.
And we are financial time travelers, so we might have some insight here,
We want to
guys.
get there sooner.
If I was going to ask somebody about the future, I'd probably ask a time traveler.
Right. Yep. And just so happens,
shameless plug.
Here we are.
Yep.
So we're going to look at how we can't change America, but what we can do is help the people that listen to us and watch us, what they can do to potentially change their life and change the trajectory of their life and what they're doing.
Tell me the story, man.
Okay, so here's the story.
You're dancing. You're like an expert. We're going to have to do a ballroom dancing.
So I go to San Francisco quite a bit, and it was around 3:30.
Humble brag.
Getting out of San Francisco is a real nightmare. And so I was going
pretty much any time of the day.
Yeah. So driving through the town, so I'm downtown, just getting out of the Embarcadero Financial District, and we're going nowhere. And I'm just kind of looking around, and I look to my left, and I saw a florist shop. and that's what my mind told me. That's a florist shop,
like
a restaurant.
You told me you were on like California Street or something
downtown.
Like that. Yeah,
right. Yeah, near the 100 district, so right in epicenter.
So skyscraper land.
Yeah. So when I looked over again, because I crawled a whopping 5 feet, and I had plenty of times to look again, I looked again, and it wasn't a florist shop. What it was about 15 feet gap between two skyscrapers. So you have two concrete pillar office buildings going up 40, 50 floors, and what this lady did is took a 2x6 and jammed it between the two posts or the two walls of these concrete skyscrapers, and then put another one on the back of the wall, and then put 2x4s on top of that, and then put fiberglass on top of that. So that was kind of a makeshift shed, okay? And then...
But it was big. How many square foot?
Well, it's about 15 feet wide, right? Okay. And then maybe about, it looked like 10, 15 feet deep. But the reason that it looked like a florist shop is because she had buckets and shelving of flowers everywhere. And as all of the financial district employees are walking out and getting to the bus stations, they're stopping, getting flowers for their
How much
spouses.
were the flowers?
And, I don't know.
Do you remember?
I
bet you they were like $50.
I don't know, but
for a half dozen.
I could have gotten out and bought one and got back in my car and not stopped traffic at all. So anyway, so as I watch, I realize as I'm watching her, what it would take to work with the city planners and the commissioners and the permits and all of that to get this business started. But nonetheless, here she was in business, downtown financial district, enjoying the weather, enjoying meeting people, doing what everybody in the office buildings would like to have been doing.
I'm amazed.
Yeah. And what was really interesting...
How do you get a permit for that?
Yes, exactly. And here she is doing business. And like you said, probably doing good business.
Right.
And what was really funny is that she's pushed between these two skyscrapers, right? So what's her address? There isn't an address, right?
Half.
And a UPS driver stops next to me, gets out, brings packages to her.
What?
Yes, and then gets back into the truck and takes off.
This sounds like a deeper story. We need to go and interview this lady.
Yeah, well, we have a picture. We showed it. We have it in our podcast.
On financialtimetraveler.com. You can go there at any time of the day.
Future of America.
Doesn't matter what time zone, whether you're in the future or the past, it's going to be alive at financialtimetraveler.com.
Yeah, it's stuck in time. Yeah. So, but anyways, what's going to lead into our conversation today is that we're going to take a little liberty.
Announce the lead-ins.
We're going to lead it in. We're going to take a little liberty, but let's go with the premise that this is a young lady that wants to pay her bills,
right?
And she's in San Francisco, which is not cheap to live, or wherever she lives, and so she has lots of options. And let's say she doesn't have the background pedigree to be in corporate America, to be on the 44th floor of doing something,
right?
And she gets some 2x4s and makes a florist shop right downtown financial district. She's in the heart of where the big bucks are, where these people have master's degrees and bachelor's degrees. She's in the environment. She's there. And not only is that, she's in commerce with them. She's buying and selling flowers to them and enjoying the weather and not stuck in a building and being able to enjoy life and going forward. She could have possibly, again, we'll take some liberties, taken government handouts. She could have done a lot of things, but she chose to start a business.
And wake up early, get there before everybody else. In the financial district, you got to be there when the bell rings. So you're there bright and early, and she's there before you. Just the fact that she had building materials. They don't have a Home Depot in San Francisco.
How did she probably put it on top of her VW Bug? And
that might not be a real fact.
Yeah.
Do you think that they...
that there is a Home Depot?
You were going in with the VW Bug thing. She had the VW bus.
Right.
We had a VW bus.
Yeah.
Another story. My sister rolled it when she was 7. But yes, I did wear this today because 1, I was excited to be here, but 2, I was kind of listening to somebody who I thought is a really cool guy, entrepreneur. So I thought I'd dress like him.
Okay.
Can you guess?
And who is this?
Russell Simmons.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Ricky Henderson.
Russell Simmons.
Okay.
I don't know if Ricky Henderson is an entrepreneur.
Yeah, he's pretty brilliant. I don't know if he needs to be an entrepreneur with all those.
Why does he?
He just have to sell all those second bases that he stole.
He is a time traveler of baseball. He took the game to another level before anybody else took it there, and he achieved things at a faster rate.
Yeah.
We'll get into that at a different time. Maybe we could have him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Might have to have a bigger desk. But Russell Simmons is an amazing entrepreneur to me.
Okay.
If you follow the blog, we've had 2 music Friday Fives.
Friday Fives, right.
We've highlighted some fair amount of hip-hop. This last one was all kind of instrumentals because
Right.
we talked about repetition.
Right.
Hip hop is very repetitive
Right.
as far as drum loops and certain styles, so sample-based hip hop, which is
Right.
why we featured
Right.
that. And going back, and I just kind of love the history because it's a genre that literally came from nothing,
Right.
into something huge. And it's kind of the story of American entrepreneurialism for me.
Right.
And Russell Simmons, when you talk about the first kind of figureheads who took hip hop to a new level, that's Russell Simmons. He was the guy who started Def Jam. He did the first major movie in Crush Groove.
Right.
He signed Run DMC, who were his brothers, cousins. Rev Run, I want to say, is like his cousin. But they all grew up together. He signed LL Cool J, biggest artist in the world at that time.
Yeah.
On and on and on, all the way to like signing Kanye West and Rihanna. He's
So
the
it sounds
biggest
like
guy
he
at Fat
does a
Farm.
lot of good things.
He's got honored by huge societies.
Right.
He's a vegan philanthropist. He got honored by PETA. He's won all these
Right.
other stuff.
So he just has bad taste in sports teams then.
He loves the Yankees.
Oh, he does. So
Yeah.
why are you wearing a
Because
hat?
I'm like the 2016 version
Oh, okay, all right.
of the Bay Area Russell Simmons, who's white.
So you're representing
Yes,
the
exactly,
Bay Area.
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
I like how you put the emphasis on those syllables. And so we wanted to talk about entrepreneurialism, and I
Yep.
just thought he was an amazing example of that. And he kind of talks with a lisp, but he's a bad man who
Right.
does some awesome things. He's also had some failures. So he introduced the Rush card in 2009, which was basically like a prepaid Visa
Right.
for low income, and it was a total failure. People were getting chargebacks. He
Right.
bounced back from that. Watching him go through that.
Right.
If you have some time, research the background there if you're interested in music and kind of how hip hop came from literally came from two turntables that weren't designed to mix records. So they
Right.
had duplicate copies of records that had the breaks on them. So a drum break that was really cool with some James Brown or
Right.
some Bob James jazz, who was fusion at the time. We have Herbie Hancock on the wall right there. He was kind of part of that. So they'd find that groove,
Right.
buy duplicate records, play that groove at the party,
Right.
and then they take the other one, and they had to create their own turntable that would be able to spin it back, have the right needle, everything, and then all of a sudden they would play it over and over again, and people were like, wow, how is he doing this? This is magic.
Right.
Designed his own switchboard, the whole thing, and then
Right.
that started going to production side, which created a whole genre that is a
So you
billion-dollar
like him
interesting.
because he was very entrepreneurial, very creative.
Oh, he
was a leader.
Came from nothing.
Right. And some of the best entrepreneurs have come from nothing. Although there's some great entrepreneurs that have come from great wealth, and instead of enjoying and sitting on their laurels,
Right.
Mark Zuckerberg as an example, Bill Gates is another example,
Right.
came from very wealthy families and chose to work harder
Keep moving.
and set the tone for a whole nother level. And so, yes, it really doesn't matter where you come from. You have an opportunity in your life to go to another level and make an impact, not only on other people, but also an impact on your own life.
Absolutely.
And that's going to be part of what we're going to talk about, is that changing America is one person at a time. And we see the unemployment levels starting to hit 10-year lows.
Right.
In July, dropped to 4.7% unemployment. Now it's at just under 5%. But the figures are not telling the whole story, because what unemployment, which is the U4 unemployment, is telling us is that there are less people collecting unemployment. I'm sorry, it's U3, collecting unemployment benefits. It doesn't indicate whether they're employed or not. It's just that this is how many people are getting unemployment benefits, which at the end of 12 months, you're now off the unemployment, and voila, unemployment schedule is going down. The story that's not being told is, what are these people doing when they stop getting unemployment benefits? Where are they going? How are they paying their bills? And that is part of what we're seeing, is that people are really starting to figure out that destiny is in their own hands.
Right.
And there are more entrepreneurs, more ways to be able to start businesses now, especially with the development of the internet and resources that are available. People are making money through Amazon, just buying and selling, and eBay, and being able to have set up shop and be able to start selling. I have friends of mine that go to garage sales, and then they clean up whatever they bought. They take pictures of it and post it.
We've had a few garage sales. There's this one lady who has like a renovated U-Haul trailer truck.
Yeah.
Who she always makes around. She comes in real fast. She walks up. She knows exactly what she's wants. It's like boom, boom, boom. Yeah. I'll take it for, and I usually give her 50% off just to get the big stuff out. And she has a truck ready to go. She
takes the big stuff.
She goes to the flea market and sells it that same weekend.
Right.
Hustle.
Yeah.
Love it.
My
and
friends
with the internet, you can eBay it now.
Yeah.
You can.
So my friends focused on figurines and smaller items.
Okay, they had a niche.
Because of shipping and all of that. But they scored big time when one particular family were selling their whole Barbie collection.
It's getting a little bit better. Janet Yellen made a statement today that kind of set the market going nuts.
Yeah,
she said
plus 100 and went negative 100 based on her quote.
There's a picture on my Instagram. You can go to @NyleBayer on Instagram and see it. But Janet Yellen states, "I believe the case for an increase in the federal funds rate has strengthened in recent months."
Right.
Finance Twitter went nuts.
Yep. And
pictures of Armageddon and like Janet Yellen standing there with Obama and caption, "What have we done?"
Right. And that's all legal speak.
Right.
And what does it really mean is that she feels that the economy is improving well enough to where she can raise interest rates.
Right.
And what sent Twitter crazy is that really it's getting better.
Right.
What
the market's
are you looking at?
You want to like real-time feedback?
Right. Instantly went from plus 100 on the Dow to negative 100 on the Dow. Oh, really? We're in such good shape.
Yeah,
and what she really needs to do, and I do respect her, I think she's doing the best job of any central banker, is that she's slowly trying to incrementally.
We got to have a B-roll of some of these words. That'll be fun.
Incrementally increase interest rates to build some bandwidth because we're going into another recession. There's no doubt about it.
And why is this important to this conversation? Because the Fed has a dual mandate that looks basically at the labor market.
Right.
So if they think the labor market's doing good, then they're going to raise rates.
Right.
Right.
And what you don't want to do as an individual in trying to be the breadwinner of your family is you don't want to be in a vocation that you're going to be out of a vocation 24 months from now. You want to have as much control.
Stability.
Yes, stability. You want to have control. You want to be able to have options in your life. And entrepreneurial, building your own business, is one of the most significant ways that you can establish stability for your life. And then there's a lot of skill sets. We're going to cover some of those today, and we have a whole series on building a business.
And this doesn't have to go with necessarily the entrepreneur who's the founder of a company. And these are the stats that we have for you as far as just the small businesses that take up America's economy.
What are those stats?
Thank you for the layup. 53% of U.S. workers are in small businesses.
53. So 53%. A preponderance of today's working Americans
53%
own small
30
businesses.
million, and we wrote about this on the blog, Future of America Part 1.
Right.
There are over 30 million small businesses in America.
Right.
64% of all newly created jobs in 2012 were from small businesses.
Right.
And 70% of new job creation for the past decade.
Right.
7 out of 10 jobs.
New jobs.
In the past 10 years.
Right.
So what does that mean?
That means small businesses are the growth of the last decade. Right.
Right.
And it's where people want to be.
So do you think it would be smart for Janet Yellen to look at the small businesses?
Right. How are they doing?
Right.
Right.
And you think she is?
And the challenge is, and she, along with her predecessor, Benjamin Bernanke, have been saying over and over again that no amount of monetary policy can make up for poor fiscal policy.
Right.
Again, legalese speak that's saying no amount of our money
you suck, Congress,
can make up for all your stupidity.
Right.
And you need to start making some good decisions here.
And I think it starts with everybody in their own individual household.
Right.
I really do. I think we are America, and we are small, people that we all come together as a country and we make America.
Right.
And so if we start making decisions for ourselves that are convicted in how we feel, then if we all start doing that, then America will start going forward. But when we have corruption in the government, it can only say that we have corruption in our homes.
Yeah,
because
we're
only
voting
two
for
options
these people. Are bad options.
Well, we're allowing it. We're enabling it.
Yeah.
And so we had a comment on the Facebook page for another post, but someone said if 66% of the GDP is from consumer spending, yearly, then
individuals,
then
buying
companies
retail.
should stop shipping jobs overseas, and they should pay higher wages.
Right.
I'm like, that's a valid point to have.
Right.
Can understand how you would feel that way.
Right.
But if you do feel that way, then I would assume you're not spending money at companies
right.
that pay wages that you don't feel are right.
Yeah, if you're, passing up that small mom and pop hardware store to go to Home Depot, and nothing against Home Depot, I like Home Depot, but you're going to probably pay a little bit more at that mom and pop hardware store.
Right.
And if you're passionate about small businesses, then you patron small businesses. And that's part of the price. You pay a little bit more for those hinges, but you keep that mom and pop shop.
And 53% of all U.S. workers are small businesses.
Right.
If we were sending a ton of jobs overseas, let's say 40% of the labor market was overseas, you would see that reflected in these numbers.
Right.
We have 4.8% unemployment.
Right.
Which shows that we're really not sending as much as the headlines or maybe the top figureheads want you to believe.
Right. Now, just a little clarification. I'm not opposed to the large companies, because if I was, then I would not be commenting on Mark Zuckerberg, who has started from a one person and built into a very large company. Home Depot did the same thing. Great story how they built. What it comes down to is identifying a need and then identifying a way to meet that need in the most cost-effective way. With that is a symbiotic relationship with your customers who are looking to fulfill that need, and they have a price valuation of what the cost they'll pay to resolve that need. And that's all about entrepreneurial, is identifying those opportunities.
That was amazing. We're going to have to splice that and put in a 30-second clip, because you nailed it right there.
There you go.
Boom. Nailed it.
So, and that's what you need to do. And so opportunities are every day. A good example is that a friend of mine in Southern California, he has a lot of businesses. He's very entrepreneurial. He's always thinking of, and so I was at his house one night after dinner, and he went to his laptop, opened it up, and was kind of keying on, and I said, so what are you doing? And he says, I want to see how much money I made today. And I go, well, okay, well, what do you mean by that? So you can be an Uber driver and get in your car and drive people around. And that's a great entrepreneurial. And by the way, that's a lot of fun to do that. If you've not been in an Uber car, it's really a blast.
Just not in my car.
Yeah.
I'm so like, people don't touch anything.
Yeah.
Don't put your feet up.
But what's really,
you cannot have a drink in here.
Yeah. But what's cool is you get in a cab, it's like they don't even look at you. You know, they hit the thing and then drive off. You know.
There's that joke that a cab driver understands that we're never going to be friends. An Uber driver doesn't.
Right. And so an Uber driver, they'll reach back and say, hey, do you want a little snack? Do you want a glass of water? You know, bottle of water. Right. I've got my iPod here. Is there particular music? I mean, they're like right there. And we talked about it, you know, about.
You want watches? I got watches.
Yeah, exactly. And so anyways, the point is you can be in one car, drive one customer. That's not how my friend thinks. You know what he did? He bought 5 Camrys, and he put an ad in the paper. He's hiring Uber drivers, and he splits the profit with them.
$100 a day.
Right. And
no, he splits it.
No, well, he does. He pays them $100 a day, $500 a week, $2,000 a month. So they have nothing to worry about, $2,000 a month. But meanwhile, he has a quota that they have to hit, or he fires them, right? But here, he and I were out and about doing our business, and we come home after dinner.
Is that Uber Fleet? I want to say it's Uber Fleet. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
And opens up his laptop and see how much was earned that day. And then on Monday, which is when Uber pays, on Monday he's going to have a deposit. And
that's awesome.
So that's entrepreneurial.
Let me guess. This was like a side project. This was an experiment.
It was just an experiment.
That's
just for the heck of it.
How much did he make? Do you know? 1 month?
He said he's averaging about $1,000 a week.
For literally doing nothing. And holding liability of the cars.
Right.
Paying the insurance.
Right. Paying the insurance, getting the cars, all of that.
Okay, so there's his risk-reward measures.
Right. And so he intuitively, he has this balance of risk to reward.
Right.
And he feels that it tipped the scale, that reward was much better than risk. And so he did it. And so far, and that was about a month ago, and to my best of my knowledge, he's still doing it.
And I'm not sure who you're talking about, which is fine. We have a lot of friends, popular people. When you look like this, you're just attractive. And
less the
attracting to people. Less the hat, sorry. Okay. I'm an ugly soul.
We'll keep the tie, though. The tie looks very good.
There are a lot of small business, financial time travelers business.
Right.
And I think that even if you're not the guy who founded a business, and like we said, 53% of all U.S. workers work in this kind of environment.
Right.
70% of all jobs created in the past 10 years are small businesses. So even if you're not that guy who's like, I want to go be an entrepreneur, you're kind of being one.
Right.
You know, by default, when you go and work in one of these small businesses and to understand what you're going to go through as a group, is very important to make sure that you're successful, because there is a lot more turnover in the small business environment. So there's that risk reward factor.
Yeah. So you're wondering, well, I work for a company. I'm not really happy with that, or I don't see the future. I want to be a small business owner. How do I get started? And there's lots of books that you can read, but the real way to do that is start opening your eyes and watching people, watching what they're doing, and seeing, is there something that they're doing that you can provide to them that will engage in their life and add value to them. And another good example, and this is widespread right now, but about 15 years ago, my wife and I were in Hawaii, and there's this lady, another lady, and she's sitting in the lobby of this hotel, very nice resort hotel in Hawaii.
Okay.
And there's these coconuts with some really neat little artwork on it, shrink wrap with the U.S. postage stamp already on it, and a label. The only thing that was left was for you to write your name on the label. And so I thought,
it's a postcard.
I thought that was pretty cool.
It's a coconut postcard.
That's exactly what it is. And so I started talking to her, because I love business. I love to see entrepreneurial. I love to see people
new ideas, innovation, creativity.
So I was talking to her, and she said, well, I came to Hawaii because this is where I always wanted to live. No job, no way to make money.
Okay.
I'm not going to wait on tables because I can't pay my bills waiting tables and all the other entry-level jobs. And so she is an artist, and she goes, wait a minute. I'm an artist, and there's coconuts everywhere. And she literally gets up, walks along
That's got to be a stereotype.
highway.
There's not that many coconuts in Hawaii.
There is.
There really
There's
is.
a ton
They're just
of coconut.
everywhere.
Yes, they're everywhere.
Like, get these coconuts out of here.
So she gets the coconuts along the highways, brings them home, cleans them all up, paints a really neat little Hawaiian theme type picture. Very simple, but she was good, you know, and she was doing it with Sharpies. That's what's the other thing. No paints. She was doing it with a Sharpie, right? And they were really cool. And she was selling them for $25 each. Postage was $5.
Okay.
So she's making $20 a coconut.
All pure
profit.
Profit.
Right.
Huge margins.
$20 a coconut. Now, this is interesting. Jump forward, time travel forward 10 more years. Same hotel, same lobby. There's another person there. They're even smarter. You know why?
Why?
Because the coconuts were blank. You paint your own picture. He provided the Sharpies. Same $25. Now he's not even painting the picture.
I wonder what happened to that lady.
Yeah.
She probably runs a coconut painting conglomerate.
Probably had a franchise by now.
Yeah, yeah.
But the point being is that
she realized she couldn't scale it because she's a better artist than everybody.
Right.
So she's like, I'm just going to put people at the stations they can draw it themselves.
Yeah, well, we don't know that, but that's what it is.
That's how I choose to believe it.
Right. Okay, we'll go with that storyline. I'll choose to believe it too. So the point is that here are some people in Hawaii trying to figure out, in an island in the middle of the ocean, how am I going to make a business? And what are my resources? What are my needs? What are my resources? Who's my clientele? What is their price points? Where can I meet them? If you really take this as a master's study, right, and a collegiate look at how they thought this through, whether they did or not, and you start from financials and the projections and the clientele and the marketing and the cost of goods, right? This is a well thought out. If it was by accident, if you took it all apart and unpacked it, this is a entrepreneur at its best.
Right, exactly the heart of what the thought comes from, and I think
in the middle of the ocean,
to that is that conviction is a huge piece of starting a small business to be successful at it. Because if you're not convicted, you're not passionate, you're going to die. Because the people who are convicted are going to stay up later than you. They're going to wake up earlier than you because they're just stoked. Like me, I want to be in here because I'm so excited about what we're doing. As opposed to if I didn't like this, I'd be like ducking and dodging every phone call. But I'm like, man, can I just want to go into work because I want to record some new stuff, you know, and that's the conviction we need.
Yeah, and then conviction comes perseverance. And so let's say her first day, no one buys any of her coconuts. So then she figures out, maybe asks a few people, why would you buy it? Maybe let's say that she started her pricing at $40 and nobody bought her coconuts.
Price points.
So then she starts asking people, do you like these coconuts? Yes. $40, not so much. What would you pay for this coconut? And so she starts doing her market studies, right? But the other part of it is then she starts adapting. And then she realizes, well, maybe in front of a grocery store wasn't good enough. Maybe I need to go where the clientele is a little bit more relaxed.
Right.
And then somehow she gets the idea of being in the lobby of a resort. So she has to go talk to the manager because she just didn't show up and set up table, right? So then she has to meet with the manager and sell her idea. And maybe there's a little profit sharing, probably not. But the point is that there's a lot involved. When you see a business doing well, it didn't happen by accident. There's a lot of thought that goes into it. And that's where you're educating yourself and learning about businesses and beginning, but having a conviction of what you think people need.
And what you're good at. She was a good painter.
Right.
She's like, I can do this.
Yeah. And then persistence. You know, very few businesses start right off and go straight up, right? So you got to be persistent to work your way through and fine tune your business model.
Have some thick skin.
Right.
And if you're going to hire people and scale, I mean, that doesn't sound like an extremely scalable business, but if you have a real product that you feel convicted in, you're passionate about, you're ready to scale it.
Right.
The people you first hire most likely are going to be people who are closer to you that might be true relationships and true friendships. And there's a great burden or weight to make sure that you're going to make sure that this is a successful place for everybody. And so with that comes, you know, different emotions, and you have to be able to have thick skin to do that. And as you scale and become more successful, and then you have more people, you know, maybe those first people, now you're hiring at a faster rate. You might have an HR person who you're trying to communicate a certain culture to. There's certain thresholds at like 10 people when a business really starts hitting a wall, because you have a small group. Now you have to scale out. There's some people you don't get to see every day, but you need to communicate that same passion and that same culture. And then
have
20 to 50.
And transfer.
50 to 100. And it's important that everybody gets that down the line, so that when someone who's on the actual ending business to consumer type of product, or the retail floor, they might make less, maybe some commission, hourly wage, minimum wage base, plus whatever commission. That input from that salesman might not make it through their store manager, to the regional manager, to the regional director, to the board of directors.
Well, there'll be a digression. There will be a process of your message being diluted, but it needs to be nearly 100% with your C-level team or your management team.
Same page.
It won't be the same. You can't expect it. They're not getting paid. They don't have the same benefits. They don't have the same rewards.
No. What I'm saying is that if you're one of those people, and you turn around,
if you're the one of them,
and you think that I can add value to this company,
I can make a difference
by being in this, you know, in one of the layers of the onion, and providing great, honest input and working my tail off and being passionate and convicted in an entrepreneurial sense, that's how you can move up in these small businesses. Because they need that. And that's how, being aware of it and knowing that most of America is in a small business. And that if you apply these same characteristics or attributes that it takes to be the one who founds it, you can work your way up as well. And it needs to be scaled on all sides. And what you were saying about it starts at home, and picking us up by our own bootstraps and saying, I'm going to go start a florist shop. I'm going to go do this coconut thing. And I'm going to be able, when I move on, it might not last forever, but I'm going to be able to take that knowledge and apply it to whoever I do work for. And then I'm going to create that entrepreneurial spirit within my coworkers. I think it'd be really powerful.
And some other key points to bring out, and if you pursue this path of entrepreneur, is you need to maintain and expect a high level integrity, both on yourself and on your employees. And you need to be able to be a cut above your competition.
Only way to survive.
And by the way, that leads to studying your competition, not in an adversarial way, but what are they doing well? And what are they not doing so well? And in several of our businesses, I like getting to know my competition and going out to lunch with them and talking about it, because we both know that I could tell him everything that I'm doing, but ultimately he'll adapt and develop his business the way he wants it to be. And he won't be able to do it as well as I'm doing it, even if I told him exactly how I'm doing it. But the point being is learning how...
And you do this. This is kind of funny, because I know you, and you go out to... You know, we're in the top 20 largest, you know, registered investment advisors in the Sacramento region, and you know these guys. Because you're meeting, you're talking about business models. Because
Right.
you know we're going to execute different at the end of the day.
And we have the same passion. How are you doing it? Oh, that's brilliant. How did you come up with that idea? And then it's a compliment.
It's a win-win.
Right.
It's not a zero-sum game.
I don't plan on taking over his business because I don't want his business. I want it my business.
And
I want it the way it is.
The ones that are nervous, you don't want to be around them anyways.
Right.
Because they're the ones who are coming for your head. If they're
Right.
nervous about you coming for their head,
Right.
then it's the other way around.
Right.
As opposed to us, we're like, let's win-win.
By the time they figure out what
Let's
we're doing, we
collab.
should be 10 years ahead of them.
Right.
Light years.
And we'll love to be on other people's podcasts as well as have other podcasters on ours because there's plenty of room.
Right.
And as long as we're providing value, that's the goal.
Yeah. So the exciting part about being an entrepreneur is that you're not dependent upon, you're allowed to have the creativity. Government's not telling you you're working for us. This is the handout we're going to give you. You're in charge of your life. You have an opportunity and you have the ability to adapt. There are statistics that small businesses only last 5 years. And I think that's a skewed piece of data because that business that started out in day one may not be the same business in year 5, but it's it's the same business person who's adapted and moved on and developed and went on to another area.
Same business person, different business.
Correct.
I like that.
And so statistics don't give us all the data, but the point being is that we're at a point in our society of 15 years of stagnation, and what we're seeing is more and more people are losing patience and tolerance for the environment that we're in, and this is when you see the explosion of entrepreneurialism, and it's very similar to 1979 leading 1981 when we saw the birth of an explosion of the baby boomers saying, this is not what I want to do, I'm starting my own businesses, and literally transformed communication, technology, businesses with disruptive technology that no one ever thought would take place, but it was all from entrepreneurs that had a product and took it public.
Before them, for generations, it was, I do what my father does.
Right.
So you're talking about a whole generation of people who said, I'm going to break the mold.
Right.
And we talked about this, I want to say episode 2, breaking the mold.
And what's interesting is the generation that followed the baby boomers went to work and became entrepreneurs, and now we have the cycle of entrepreneurs. So it's a flip-flopping cycle.
Let's stop there. We might have to do a part 2 of this because it's a great topic we both love and are passionate about. So we appreciate everybody who listened. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to share it. We'll have the link below, as well as you can access us at financialtimetraveler.com. We're on all of the big social media.
All of them.
You think about it, we're pretty much we're a big deal.
Yeah. You think time? You think Nyle and Anton.
On that note, we'll see you guys later. Have a good weekend.
All right, bye.